Fuck you too!
Starting the coffee with chopsticks, using the vortex method, starting the coffee with chopsticks, starting the coffee with the K-bar tactical chopsticks, starting the coffee, you get out of practice, man. Starting the coffee with the K-bar tactical chopsticks of truth, using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee. At the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, cold brew coffee. You put the coffee, the ground coffee, you grind your coffee, you put it in the French press, you put it in cold water. Keep the plunger up. I just keep it on the kitchen counter overnight. In the morning, push the plunger down and you get a nice dark coffee. And then I usually put it in a pan or the microwave and heat it up. But it's brewed cold. What does that do? It doesn't extract all the acid from the beans, so you have a less acidic cup of coffee. So let's try it. Nice.
Nice. My God, that is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
Let's talk about mindset right now and how mindset can help you get through a setback, a struggle, a breakup, your divorce. Shit, my alarm's going off. Hold on. I always have two alarms. One goes off at 4. The other one goes off at 5 as kind of a backup system. Let's talk about mindset while going through a divorce. You know, there's the kind of people, have you ever watched the news and you see a tornado, a hurricane goes through a town, and what happens? There's two types of people that they interview, you know, the homeowners. There's the kind of person, when they interview them, they put the microphone in front of their face and the person is crying and saying, we lost everything. Everything's gone. We lost everything. And then there's the kind of person that says, you know, everything's gone, but at least we have each other. We're alive. You know, you can always build a new house. What you see there is two different perspectives, two different mindsets on how to deal with tragedy. When it comes to breakup, divorce, disappointment, being abandoned, so much of it is about your perspective and mindset. So when you go through a breakup, I gotta have more coffee, hold on. Or a divorce, and this is what we're doing is we're going back to original Daybreak Show style in the cozy nook here. What time is it now? 5:01. I'm a little bit late today. I really should have started this at about 4:30. But I had to take the trash out. The historic classic Daybreak Show is me pressing record at 5 o'clock. And I've been experimenting with different things over the years, and I really like the old style of me just sitting in the cozy nook here, which is basically an addition that's on the kitchen that goes out towards the back deck. Back here is the back deck. In front of me is sliding glass doors. And I sit here, and usually by the end of the show, the sun just starts to come up a little bit. It gets a little bit lighter outside. Oh, here we are back at Classic Daybreak Show. 10 years. Can you believe 10 years? Use your words to reprogram and hack your brain. What does that mean? You need to choose indifference because it buys you time until you're genuinely able to move on. Stop saying things like, I miss her. Now think about this. Hurricane people. One person says, I lost everything. Life is over. Another person says, we're still alive. We can always rebuild. Think about the guy that says, she left me. Everything's over. I don't know what to do with my life. You programmed yourself to not do well or to even die. I would just die if my girlfriend never left me. I would just die. Hi, baby. Come to visit daddy? Good boy. That's a good boy. He used to come see me every morning during every Daybreak show. During your relationship or marriage, you've made statements like, I don't know what I would do without her. I would just die without her. I couldn't move on without her. Every time you say something like that, you're training yourself to not know what to do without her. You're training yourself to die. You're setting into motion the death process. When you go through a breakup or a divorce, if you keep saying, I miss her, you are reinforcing missing her. Your words are affecting your brain. I can't stop thinking about her. Guess what? You're not going to stop thinking about her. Here's this other one. This guy breaks up with this gal, this guy I know. They go through a breakup, and his response to me on everything was, but I love her, but I love her, but I love her.
Wake the fuck up.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Great. Keep telling yourself that, and you will keep missing her. Keep feeling your loss rather than thinking about your future. Now, can you miss somebody? Sure. It reminds me of the woman who went to divorce care, and she was at my table, 6 or 8 of us at a table. And she says, my husband left me for my best friend. I'm devastated. I don't know what to do. The grief is overwhelming. And I asked her, when did this happen? She said 11 years ago. What? She just kept coming back. She was now addicted to divorce care program at the church. And what happens is when you keep telling yourself the story of your tragedy over and over again, that's called suffering. There's pain and then there's suffering. Pain is actual pain. Think about it. When you are not feeling well, when you are hurting mentally, physically, pain. But suffering is telling yourself the story, looping the story of your pain over and over and over. In the situation of the lady at divorce care, she just kept telling herself the story of her husband's infidelity and leaving with her best friend. Every day she'd wake up and play that loop. And guess what happens? Everybody around the table says, "Oh," and they put their hand on her shoulder. "We'll pray for you." Behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. I knew I would have got kicked out of the group if I said, 11 years? Why are you still suffering after 11 years? Why haven't you moved on? That probably would have been my last time at the divorce care group, but I just decided to keep my mouth shut at that point. In the same way, when I tell you you're not depressed, you're discouraged, all of a sudden, all the fucking monkeys come out of the woodwork to tell me how depression is real. Depression is fake. It's always been fake. You're discouraged. Stop defending your bad behavior and what you've heard on the news and what your mama told you. Stop it. You need courage to move on. Stop talking about chemical imbalances. You bunch of coping excuse makers. Enough of that already. But I love her. She's not going to find anyone better, one guy said to me. She'll never find anyone like me. Okay, whatever, dude. What you're doing is you're using your words to keep you in a discouraged, down state. You can hack your brain and get out of it. For instance, you go to work. "Hey, how's it going?" It's Monday. You ask people, "How's it going?" "Hey, good morning." "Good morning, how's it going?" Living the dream. And the negativity at every workplace across America is at an all-time low with people complaining. Then, of course, you got all the nonsense happening in the world. That doesn't help. So this is why you need to adopt a sense of indifference. You know what indifference is? Basically not giving a F about things, or at least faking that you don't give an F about things. Indifference is the first thing you should try. The following words, think about this, work because they interrupt the rumination, the loop that's going on in your head. It's called automatic thought stopping. The goal is not to lie to yourself. It's to stop feeding the emotional addiction that you have to the relationship. This is why I say all the time, have the funeral. Just have the funeral. Literally have the funeral. What are you burying? You're burying the relationship. You're burying your past with her. You are burying the future that you had planned with her. Life is not over after divorce or breakup. Use your words to hack your brain. You could actually say things like this. And you might have to write things down. For instance, I always keep I have I have these 4x6 Post-it notes. They're lined, and I got a little carbon fiber clipboard, and it's got a pen clip, and I keep my 4-color pen in there, and I write things down nonstop. You should see this house. Post-it notes everywhere. I have everything from the small Post-it notes to the big ones. If you have to write it down and stick it on the refrigerator, put it on the bathroom mirror, put it on your door, inside of your front door when you leave your house or apartment, and say it out loud. Put the sticker on the door that says, I choose peace over chasing. Put a sticker, put a Post-it note on the outside of the door so that when you come home, that's the first thing you see. You need to remind yourself of these things because your brain is automatically going to go to the pain and suffering part. She is no longer my responsibility. Write it down. She is no longer my responsibility. Take the Post-it note, put it on the refrigerator, put it on the door, put it on the bathroom mirror. I am releasing what no longer chooses me. Some of you might say, oh, that's a bunch of psychological mumbo jumbo. And I'm not going to say, trust me, bro. But when you look at some of the things that you've been telling yourself, you've trained yourself to lose. You've trained yourself to grieve. You've trained yourself to die. Or you are in the process of doing that. If you don't think so, look how much you self-deprecate. Look how much you put your own person down. You put yourself down. So why not psych yourself up and reprogram your brain, or as they've been saying for the past 10 years, hack your brain. And how do you do that? It's with your words. I don't need closure to move forward. Her opinion of me no longer pays my bills. I don't chase people who walk away. I'm investing in my future, not my past. The right woman won't require convincing. If she wanted to be here, she'd be here. I'm done negotiating for someone's affection. I refuse to audition for a role that's already been cast. Now that's a little formal. Every day without her is one day closer to the woman who's actually right for me. My energy belongs to me now. I'm becoming the prize again. Oh, this is a good one. Rejection is redirection. Not a long sentence, man. You could put that on a postage stamp. Rejection is redirection. I don't romanticize people who choose to leave. I can miss the memories without wanting the relationship back. I'm not waiting, I'm building. I'm done putting someone on a pedestal who treated me like an option. I don't need her to validate my worth. This, whatever resonates with you, or as George W. Bush used to say, resignate. Remember that? I choose self-respect over temporary relief. The man I'm becoming won't settle for what I accepted before. Every day I think about her less, and I think about my mission more. She lost access to me. These are things that you tell yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to think these things. I'm telling you to say these things with your mouth, so your own ears hear you saying it. Indifference is not pretending that you don't care. It's refusing to let your emotions make decisions that your future self will regret. Use your words to hack your brain. I'm riding the cycle back after a long ride. Today's Tuesday? On Sunday afternoon. About halfway back, I come to a red light. No other cars around anywhere. I'm just sitting there, just waiting for the light to turn green. And then there's the street pole and then that long pole that goes over the road, and that's where the traffic light is on. On that horizontal bar was 2 cameras, one facing me, one facing oncoming traffic. There was a radar-looking thing, and then another transmission-looking dish kind of thing. And then there was a box with an antenna on it, all on that pole, in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere. Facial recognition and plate reading. That's what was going on there. You are being tracked more now than you've ever been tracked in history, if you think about it. And you're afraid of AI. AI is being used on you every minute of every day. You are either going to work for AI or you're going to make AI work for you. I've been saying for a long time, especially to the off-grid, all-natural, F the government kind of people, which, I'm part of that camp as well. Resistance is futile. AI is the automobile being released into a horse and buggy world. It's electricity that's being, it's the electric light that's being introduced in the world of gas lamps and oil lamps. And I'll not deny the fact that AI has grown exponentially in the past year, and the talk about it has 100x'd in the past year. While we were sleepwalking through life, something happened. We're getting tracked, we're getting traced, we're getting predicted. Now it's here. It's part of your life, and your role is to decide how much of it you want to willingly assimilate into your life. Watching Andrew Wilson and his butt boys who defend him, they come out of the woodwork whenever I mention Andrew Wilson. He's a paid shill for TPUS gay. It's no longer TPUSA. You heard about those allegations, right? I don't support TPUS gay, Zionists, or hired guns. I just don't do it. I don't do it. For instance, if I review a product on this channel, it's not because someone sent me money. They sent me a product and said, if you like it, would you like to collaborate with us? So if I am showcasing a piece of exercise equipment or a vitamin or a beard product or a garment or a gadget, I use it first. If I like it, I will do a video. I will become an affiliate. I'll do a collaboration with them. And then I'm happy to make the money doing it. But I've had companies want to pay me $2,500 for a 1-minute insertion in the Daybreak show. I'm like, I don't even know the product. But there are people who say, $2,500? Sure, bring it on. And then they act like they're an advocate for the product and that they've been using it for 10 years. That's what happened with Andrew Wilson. TPUSA hired him to defend everything that's going on and the official corrupt narrative, no different than the 9/11 report, that Charlie Kirk was killed by a lone gunman with a .30-06 on a roof, and the bullet stopped at his neck. Every hunter knows different. But yet, they paved over everything. They completely altered the crime scene, and everything was changed because people are getting smarter. We all know it was an exploding mic. We all know that. But idiots still think the old school way. It was a guy on a rooftop with a rifle. Someone once said to me, put your hand in a bucket of water and then remove it. It didn't leave a hand-shaped hole in the water, did it? No. The water quickly rushed back. That's your life. You make an impression while you're here, but when you're gone, it's really only your loved ones that you've made an impression on. The world moves on and the space gets filled in. And that was pretty sobering for me to hear. I remember hearing that. I remember the house where I was at. It was a friend's house. And the year was maybe 1979. And I'm not sure if it was my friend that said it or his mother that said it. She was making dinner. I was sitting at the kitchen table. I used to occasionally have dinner at this friend's house with their family when I was a teenager. And I'll never forget hearing that for the first time. And that never left my head. The world moves on and the space gets filled in. So what do you need to do? Make an impression on the ones closest to you, family and friends. They're going to talk about you when you're gone. He was cool. She was cool. They were kind. They were funny. Always had something nice to say. They were an ass. They wasted so much. Such a shame. He had so much potential. I've always said that there's 3 things that people think or say when they're standing in front of a casket with their loved one laying in the casket at a funeral. What a shame, what a shock, or wow, what a life. Eulogies are for funerals, and the real you is going to be summed up in one sentence regarding the young man that took his life 2 weeks ago, shot himself in the head. When I talked to other people about that, one person said, well, he was a snitch. Another person said, hey, people commit suicide every day. Other people said, oh, he was trouble. Some said, he was a good guy. Literally, anywhere from 3 words to 1 sentence. His life was described in a sentence. And then, of course, there was the teddy bears and the candles, and you know how they do when someone dies in an accident on the street. You start seeing the teddy bears and stuffed animals and candles and pictures, and that was there for maybe a week. They are going to talk about you when you're gone, but not for long. The real you is going to be summed up in 1 sentence, in passing, in a phone call, on a holiday, at reunions, homecomings, birthdays, anniversaries. Someone may raise a glass to you and say a word or 2 about you. And if you're lucky, someone will kiss your picture every night before they go to bed and say good night. This is it, man. This is why you got to do it today. This is why your to-do list has to be written and you start checking off boxes. Getting things done, accomplishing great things, because this is it. Am I going to talk about heaven and all? I'm not even going to talk about heaven. You won't know until you're there or not there. All you have is now. You don't have the past. You don't have the future. You have now. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to help you have a good life now. I posted the other day about how this is not exactly scientifically measured, just my generalized observations. Half of the men I know, this is anecdotal, this is not research. Half of the men that I know are happily married. Yes, I know happily married men. Half aren't happily married, but they're coping. They stay married, and they're coping by cheating, drinking, doing drugs, complaining, or working more, putting extra hours in. Half of the happily married guys love their kids, but they say, if something ever happened to her, I would never remarry. Now, isn't that interesting? Is that just kind of like a backhanded way of saying you don't love your wife? I don't know. Or you wish you didn't get married? I know so many people that say, I'd never do it again. I'd never get married again. If my spouse dies, I'd never get married again. And then there's those, it's interesting. People won't remarry after the death of a spouse. Many won't. But they'll remarry after divorce. After divorce. I mean, I know women that collect engagement rings. I know one woman that has 3 diamond rings from 3 separate relationships. 2 of them were marriages. What the heck, right? Then there's the few that don't want to be married or have kids. They want nothing to do with it. And a lot of you guys are here. And then there's the few that regret everything, the marriage, the kids, and the whole bit. And that's from bad experiences that they've had. Hence, date long, marry slow, and if you decide to be divorced, divorce fast. Here is a editorial that I wrote about older men. And when I say older men, I mean guys over 40. Choose the woman who fits the life that you're building. You know, when you're a little bit older, a relationship has to be a heck of a lot more than just attraction. After 40, you've already built something, or 50, whatever. Everything is relative here. You've built something. It's a career, a business, a reputation, a home, financial stability, peace of mind, or a life that works for you. The question is, do I want her? Here's another question. Does she add to my life, or does she take away from my life? We're going to ask a lot of questions here. And those questions are uncomfortable. You need to ask yourself these questions, or answer the questions that I'm going to give to you right now. Can you afford her? Can you afford the relationship? And I'm serious. Dating is an economic reality. What does she bring to the table financially? Does she have income? Does she have a predictable work schedule? Is she financially responsible? Or are you about to become somebody's retirement plan or ATM or emergency fund or entertainment budget? Strong, independent women aren't so strong and independent, are they, after you marry them? That strong, independent woman all of a sudden becomes weak and dependent in divorce court. Big difference when they flip-flop like that. And gentlemen, are you evaluating this woman with your brain or your eggplant? Figure that out. Attraction matters. You have to be attracted to the person. Sexual compatibility matters. But attraction can make a smart, intelligent man overlook things that they would immediately recognize as a liability. Apply the post-nut clarity to your decision making. Imagine the sexual excitement temporarily removed. Would you still choose her based upon her personality and her heart? Just remove all the attraction, the physical and sexual attraction. Would you still choose her? Rich Cooper once said 95% of women, apart from sexuality, have nothing to offer a relationship. Now I need you to look at worldview. Do you share similar beliefs politically, spiritually, faith-wise? Are you a Republican and she's a Democrat? Can it work? I think you're making life harder than what it is. I know one guy dating a white guy dating a black Democrat woman, and he said, well, she's Democrat, because she's black. Well, wait, I didn't realize that skin color means that you're going to vote a certain way and that you're going to automatically have this worldview.
Great ass!
What about medical freedom? Is she a fearful woman and rolling up her sleeve and getting all kinds of vaccinations? And you're like, hell no, I want nothing to do with that. What about family, money, marriage, and the role of government in your life? Is she going to turn you in because you didn't get your vaccine? Is she going to take sides with her female friends, especially her divorced friends? And every married woman has divorced friends that want her to be divorced. Let's get real about that. Misery does love company. Look at agreements. What do you agree on? What do you disagree on? And do the disagreement things cause arguments and conflict? Fundamental differences can migrate from a dinner table conversation to a full-blown fight. What seems like an interesting disagreement during dating can become an exhausting battle 5 years later, every day in a marriage. And then you start saying things to each other like, you always do this, you never do that. Look at substance use. Does she drink excessively? Does she abuse prescription medication? Does she use recreational drugs in a way that disrupts her life? Does she need a substance to relax, socialize, sleep, celebrate, or cope with every uncomfortable emotion? Don't listen to what she tells you about herself. Study patterns. Why? Because patterns never lie. How did her previous relationships end? According to her, was every former boyfriend or husband a narcissist, a psychopath, an abuser, loser, or an ass? Does she acknowledge anything that she contributed to those relationships? Does she learn from relationships or just keep replacing the man and repeating the pattern? Pay attention to how she handles conflict. Does she communicate? Does she punish you with the silent treatment? Oh, by the way, why do women use the silent treatment? Because it works. It gets you to say, did I do something wrong? Is everything okay? Very, very manipulative technique that works almost every time. Does she disappear? Does she block you? Threaten the relationship every time she gets angry? Does she yell? Does she humiliate you publicly? Does she try to school you in the restaurant or out in public? That's embarrassing a man in public, man. If a woman embarrasses you in public, it's not 3 strikes and you're out. It's 1 strike and you're out. And you need, people say, well, you're not going to give a second chance. No, you make it clear what your expectations are. Never embarrass me in public. Say that. Never embarrass me in public. And if she does, there needs to be consequences. If you embarrass me in public, it's over. We're done. So when she does it, no man ever stood his ground or had balls big enough to say, this is over. She's used to doing that. You're going to be the first person to give her the consequences of her poor behavior, because every man has given her a pass her entire life. If she embarrasses you in public, I guarantee she has a pattern of embarrassing her men in public. And you get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Does she recruit friends and family into private disagreements? A peaceful home doesn't mean 2 people never disagree. It means that disagreement doesn't threaten the emotional stability of the home. An argument or a disagreement shouldn't turn into an argument that ruins your whole day. I remember dated a gal. I'd be there, and she literally, as I'm picking up my bag and whatever, walking out to go to work or leaving, she would snipe at me, say something. You forgot to do this. Okay. You forgot to take out the trash. You said you were going to do that. Like, just as I'm walking out the door. Couldn't say it 10 minutes earlier in the kitchen. As I'm walking out the door. And what it's like is throwing like a little grenade at you to ruin your day. Or make you think. Or make you squirm. When a woman makes you uncomfortable, and it's not your fault. If it is your fault, then you got to look at you. You got to look at the man in the mirror. But think about this. If you did nothing wrong and her pattern is to just always throw a dart at you as you're leaving the door, as you're leaving the house, as you're getting in your car, you better seriously reevaluate that relationship. Silently plan, swiftly execute your move. Don't tell her you're going to leave. It's one of the services that I offer. If you want to leave in a way where there's less collateral damage, no drama, then you need to book some sessions with me, and I can help you do that. Most men run their mouth, and then she runs to a lawyer, or changes the locks, or does something stupid. Keep your mouth shut and your hands in your pockets. Period. If you feel the relationship is done, don't run your mouth. As you get older, it's important to have a peaceful home. You've already had enough chaos, and you know that. Look at how she carries herself socially. Is she versatile? Can she wear jeans and boots to a backyard barbecue, a dress for a wedding, a fundraiser, a business dinner, a funeral, a charity event, or formal gathering? Is she versatile in what she wears? If your life puts you in the marketplace, speaking events, business functions, fundraisers, dinners, community events, does she compliment you there? Can she comfortably stand beside you without needing to become the center of attention or disappearing? I travel. I speak. I'm at conferences. I've had women with me in the past, long-term girlfriends over the years. Not a lot. I'm talking like 3 of them over decades, who are really good at that, accompanying me. And people would say to me, wow, she's great. Your wife is so supportive. You ever notice that? If you see a guy that's got a supportive, loving wife, it like stands out so much. Why does it stand out? Because it's almost non-existent in society as it is. And then comes one of the biggest questions. What are the two of you building? Are you just roommates that have sex? Or is there a genuine oneness? Two people who actually enjoy waking up together, eating together, traveling together, sitting quietly together, making decisions together, building something together that will keep you strong. Ask her about her future. Ask her about your collective future. What is her 1-year plan? Now, this almost sounds like a business arrangement, but remember, you might tell a woman, I love you, but she says, I business you. Marriage is a business arrangement. The minute you stop thinking it's not business, you will be quickly reminded that it is a business if you end up in divorce court. Trust me on that. The judge and the courts could care less if you're in love, not in love, what you did. They don't care. If you're a celebrity or if you're a trash man, it doesn't matter. It's a business arrangement. Divorce court is about business, not the best interest of anybody. It's a business. If this sounds robotic and lifeless to you, trust me, divorce court is about as lifeless as you're going to get. So think about this stuff now before it's too late. What is her 1-year plan? Or maybe sit down at the kitchen table and say, hey, let's talk about the next year, what we're going to accomplish. Literally have a calendar in front of you. What is your 5-year plan? What is your 10-year plan? Most people just wing it. And these questions confuse most men and women, most couples. And then you need to ask yourself if there is room for you in that vision that she talks about. When you say, so what's your vision for the next year? And she tells you what she's going to do. And you're thinking like, shit, I'm not part of that. Ask her what she's going to do in 5 years. If she doesn't talk about you joining her or her supporting you, for instance, if you end up with a woman who is a celebrity, an actress, a model, a public figure. The reality is that she's going to be in the limelight all the time, and you're going to be going with her to events. Been there, done that. And basically, it's you fitting into her life. That's fine. But do you have a life, or does your life revolve around her? Older men have something, and when I say older, I mean 40 and over. Older men have something younger men often don't have, and that's evidence. Anecdotal evidence, experience. You've lived long enough to recognize patterns. You know what chaos costs. You know what divorce costs. If you've been divorced, you know what rebuilding costs. And you know how precious time becomes when you realize you don't have an unlimited supply of it. So stop choosing women on how they make you feel on Saturday night. That BJ in the car carries a lot of weight for you, doesn't it? Well, realize that's going to stop once you get married. I say that kind of jokingly. You know, the joke says, why are women smiling on their wedding day? Because they know that that night is going to be the last blowjob they're ever going to have to give. Do I sound cynical? No, I sound realistic. And I just want to wake up some guys.
Wake the fuck up.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
I still have guys in my life. I teach this crap and coach this crap every single day. Yet I still have friends close to me who are making the same damn mistakes. I can fix her. I can change her. Okay, she's black and has 90 tattoos and 50 piercings, but I love her and she's so sexy. Dude, ask yourself how life will be with her on an ordinary Tuesday morning 5 years from now. Does she bring peace? Does she bring stability? Does she bring affection, loyalty, competence, companionship, and something tangible to the table? Does she make your life bigger or just complicate your life? More importantly, are the two of you moving towards the same destination? Because at this stage in your life, a beautiful woman going in the opposite direction, doesn't matter how pretty she is still the wrong woman. So choose accordingly. And I'll see you on the next Daybreak show, the only home of sanity, clarity, and reason.
Are you connecting?